train ride I wasn't prepared for. Yo, what's going on? It's Someone That's Someone, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from Aefy off Eroid. When this happened, 2016, the drug used was 4-fluoromethamphetamine, or 4-FMA, at a dose of an overdose his first time, and the other times he used between 100 and 150 milligram doses. The route of administration was orally. Weight 152 pounds. Age 20. Prior experience includes MDMA, and the setting was in his dorm. So this is a more obscure RC. I believe someone did either request this or a research chemical report, and you can probably guess from the name that it is related to methamphetamine, and we'll break it down more towards the end. So I think you guys are going to find this one interesting, and without further ado, let's dive right into it. I ventured into chemicals with MDMA in the fall of 2016, mainly due to my dislike of alcohol, but still wanting to socialize in university. With MDMA being my first chemical experience and being severely impressed by it, I set out to try a replacement that I could use more often due to MDMA's problematic serotonin syndrome risk, along with just general do not do often rule. I came across a research chemical called 4-FA online and promptly placed an order for 4-FMA by accident. I didn't really know what it was. Oops. Well, it came, and I decided to give it a whirl. It was in a crushed crystal form, like a powder, but also very shiny. I took my first dose, and instantly my life changed. I had accidentally overdosed on this first time due to a mistake with weighing, but still, I was blown away. I noticed how severely negative the side effects were, which were severely amplified due to the overdosing, but the euphoria was amazing. It felt like MDMA, but not. It wasn't loving or empathetic, but rather supremely confident and energetic. I was stimulated, focused, hypersexual, very, very euphoric, social, egotistically confident, and had faster thoughts than I'd imagined possible for 8 hours. In addition, I noticed the trippiness of this substance, or rather the rolly feeling that is very, very reminiscent of MDMA. The body load and overall visual feeling is not like traditional stimulants at all, and is unique. I felt that colors were brighter and different. Everything was very magnified. My vision was very, very clear, and my body seemed to be slipping by fast. However, the side effects were awful. Again, I had overdosed by a lot, but didn't die or have serious complications. However, I did sweat as if I was in a pool, severely overheated and severely dehydrated, and ended up tunnel visioning on my screen so hard that I accidentally lost control of my bladder, and also happened to pee blood. The after effects of this dosage lasted roughly 35 hours before I was able to sleep. From here on, I didn't stop my usage. I began to use this substance daily in the 100 to 150 milligram range, orally, which provided most of the positives, without as severe negative side effects, although it is still the most rough or toxic chemical I've ever tried. Far more toxic feeling than 4-FA, MDMA, or crystal methamphetamine. However, it remains the only non-MDMA stimulant that has given me the roll feeling, and also provides a completely different experience than MDMA. It is more selfish, egotistical, stimulant-based, controllable, to an extent, sexual, and more powerful/forceful than MDMA. After I began abusing this, I googled the chemical more and concluded that it must be similar to meth, and thought the severe physical side effects were normal. I had no idea that sweating pools of liquid, being red in the face, severe vasoconstriction, and being that dehydrated were really strange, much worse than crystal meth at the same dosage. I also was naive and didn't stop to realize that this substance should be treated with supreme caution and only be used once in a great while, similarly to MDMA, due to the serotonin. It was a great several weeks of usage, with an average of 50 to 70 hours of being awake before sleeping for 6 to 10 hours, only to do it all over again. It never got boring, and my tolerance never seemed to rise at all. It was very easy to not eat and to feel like I was having fun all by myself, with minimal social interaction. However, eventually, when this train came to an end, I crashed very hard. After daily usage for a month, it was almost impossible to get out of bed for around a week or two after stopping, and I always felt exhausted, more than I ever had been in my life. I was already depressed prior to using this substance, and it made it worse. I got suicidal and began to feel that nothing mattered. Even the things that I love to do the most, or my biggest dreams, all seemed entirely pointless or empty. Nothing could make me happy for several days, and I cried often. I believe that the lack of sleep, plus poor dieting skills, plus using it too far often, led to this crash. Using once a month or so, with proper sleep and diet, would likely not have such negative effects. Although, again, physically, the chemical feels very toxic overall regardless. After 2 to 3 weeks, and then still ongoing, my life has basically returned to normal. I have since then tried amphetamine, Adderall, and methamphetamine, none of which provide even remotely similar euphoria or intense feelings. I have done up to 80 milligrams of crystal meth orally, and all feel so incomparably weak next to 4-FMA. It makes me afraid in a big way because of how much more potent it seems to be, and how severe the side effects were compared to the not even once crystal meth. But the interesting thing is also how addictive the substance is. Even after I had temporarily wrecked my social life, education, family life, and physical health, I am still tempted to order more of this substance to just use once in a while. I think that it's just hard to deny this was the best chemical I have ever touched, especially when I know I can have it again. And logically, an occasional usage would be fine, except I don't know if I can really control myself. I deluded myself during the semester of university with notions that I would use the stimulation to do homework, go to class, or those types of things. But the chemical is far too recreational to do functional things at those high dosages. I ended up just falling far behind academically, more than I ever have in my life. Those parties that I was trying to find a chemical to use when I attended, instead of alcohol, ended up being completely ignored as I sat in my room all semester using 4-FMA repeatedly. What's interesting is how reviews online of this substance are either it's awful, worse than 4-FA, or it's amazing, but toxic. I feel that a lot of people didn't do it orally at 100 plus milligrams, and thus never hit the amazing spot for this substance. When I have tried under 100 milligrams, I didn't really even feel it, as it didn't seem special below that mark. I also found that mixing it in water and let it fully dissolve before drinking, and then gulping down all the water in one go, led to the cleanest high. I don't know why, but simply toss and wash didn't prove as effective for me. Use with supreme caution and respect. This may not be illegal yet, but in my opinion, it is far more dangerous than crystal meth. So 4-fluoromethamphetamine, a somewhat obscure research chemical that is both empathogen and stimulant-like. Now I'm guessing most of you probably only get the term methamphetamine out of that, which, yes, to a degree, it is structured like meth and is considered an analog of it. But let's break down what else it is. The 4-fluoro part just means that it has been fluorinated, as there's a whole group of fluorinated substituted amphetamines that were made to be sold as designer drugs. But beyond that, just providing an amphetamine-like experience, this substance, along with others, such as 4-FA, 2-FA, 2-FMA, and so on, carry along empathogenic-like effects like MDMA. It is responsible for affecting our serotonin, so experiencing a roll-like effect wouldn't be too uncommon at the right dosage. But like reported here in this report, there has been a large degree of people who've tried this claim that it is very neurotoxic and hard on the body. making 4FA a much more popular choice in the gray market. But there hasn't necessarily been ground scientific evidence to support all the effects, but you can typically expect similarities to other amphetamines and MDMA. This includes the drawbacks and risk factors as well, such as overdosing, psychosis, addictive potential, dangers and combinations, are just the risk if you aren't physically adequate to take such a stimulant. Which, with this one, the dangers and risk seem to weigh out the benefits, especially considering you can get these benefits from more well-known substances. And it does seem like Aefy's life was ruined fairly easily. He made it seem like the high was more worth it than having a functional lifestyle. And I don't really think we have to bring up past meth reports. We can see that from the past reports that meth has the ability to cause you to stay up for long periods of time and engage in behavior you might necessarily deem appropriate for yourself. We can see a similar line of behavior here. It is interesting, though, to see that he was most interested in being alone and not socializing. Typically, the effects of an entheogen give us further desire to seek out socialization, but the euphoric states he reached seemed to provide enough satisfaction for him, again, making it riskier for addiction and undesirable behavior. But we're going to leave it there. If you guys want to see some more 4FMA or any other obscure RC or any substance at that, let me know below and we'll get to it. If you guys did like this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials. It's been Someone That's No One, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.